and welcome to Nonverbal Communication, Com 225. My name is Jenny McGinnis, and I'm going to be your instructor for this semester. What I'm going to do today is give you a brief summary of what this course is going to entail. So first, we have the textbook, which is Successful Nonverbal Communication. You can purchase this through the North Central Bookstore, or you can purchase it online. If you have already looked at the syllabus for this course, you've noticed that the structure is set up where you have a weekly paper and a weekly quiz due each Monday. Okay. My office hours, as well as my office phone number and email, are listed on the first page of the syllabus. My advice is to use my email. Okay, I answer email every single day. At all times of the day. My office hours are selective, and more than likely I have somebody in my office hours, and so I will tend to prioritize the face-to-face person over answering my phone. If you do leave a message on my office phone, it will get linked into my email, so I will receive it. However, I won't be able to call you back directly from that. So my advice is, if you need to get a hold of me, is to simply use my email. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. Right. If I don't respond to you within 24 hours, it does mean I have not received your email. I'm pretty good about turning emails around very quickly within a couple of hours, if not just a couple of minutes. So please make sure, to just re-email me and ask me any questions about the course. I have the course set up, so although it may feel a tad repetitive by about week 4, week 5, because you'll be doing the same thing, what I value is consistency in online courses. So the first thing you've probably noticed is there is no discussion board for this course. I have gone back and forth on that. What the research has found is that discussion boards, although were put into place to replace that face-to-face communication, they're not really doing that. Most students in the other online courses that I have taught have complained about the discussion boards, simply that there are about 3 people that will, post right away. They're the same 3 people that post right away every single week, and then students are just kind of waiting for their feedback. And it seems to be more of a busy work assignment than it does to be helpful for the students. So I apologize for some of you who have really found the benefit of a discussion board. Instead, it's going to be an odd dynamic of you watching me on the computer every single week do a really informal lecture to help guide your reading and then to help you with the papers and quizzes. So obviously the nature of an online class is that it is not very interactive. Some instructors will have the interactive component of a discussion board, right? Or they'll have certain times where people have to be online. I believe that a majority of you are taking this course because you're busy, right? You're working full time, or you have a family, or you just don't have the time to put into a face-to-face course. Now, if you know anything about online courses, you know that they're normally a lot more difficult, or they tend to be a lot more work than face-to-face courses. If you are new to online classes, that might come as a surprise to you. What an online class does is allow you to have flexibility to get your work done at your schedule. So, what I've done with this class is, if you go onto Blackboard, where all the information is stored is under the Content tab. Under the Content tab, you will see 13 different folders. One for the course syllabus and course policies, and then one for each of the chapters that we will be covering in this course. Right now, you can see all of the folders, but they are empty. That is not really the case. I've just hidden them from you. What will happen is, 8 days before your first assignment is due, or any weekly chapter assignment is due, the folder will then be filled with 3 things. The first thing will be a lecture by yours truly, and it'll be similar to this, right? So you're just going to be looking at me. There's not these PowerPoint or notes to take down. You can watch them again and again and again, which I'm sure you're not going to be doing. I'd be grateful if you just watched them one time. In the lecture, I will go over what I find to be the more challenging content in the textbook, as well as give you examples. I will discuss the paper, and I will be discussing all of the quiz questions. I'm not going to say, this is quiz question number 1 or quiz question number 2, but I will be going over them. So if, for example, the first week you decide not to watch my lecture, you go on to take the quiz, or you go on to write the paper, and you're struggling with it, my advice is to go back and to watch it. Okay. Now, that being said, with regard to the quizzes, once you enter a quiz, you cannot leave. So let your lesson be learned the first week if you choose to not watch the lectures, that, and you do struggle, that you need to go back to do so. Okay. When I say that things are going to be due, you have 8 days to complete them. What I mean is that the assignments or the folder will be filled on a Sunday. Okay. Okay, so all of a sudden it's Sunday morning at 12:30 in the morning, and so technically Saturday night, you will find the lecture that I just talked about. You will then find the quiz and the paper topic. You have until the following Monday, so not 24 hours, but 8 days to complete the quiz and the paper. Some students, because I have taught online previously, will wait until the very last moment to complete things. And then their internet will go down. Somebody will get sick, they'll have some type of emergency, and they'll email me and say, "Oh, Jenny, can I get an extension?" And my answer to that is no. Okay, the reason for that is you've had 8 days, not 3 hours to complete something. So my advice to you is to go into the folder, right, and start working at it ahead of time. Don't wait until the Monday of the deadline in order to do the work. Okay, the quiz is 5 questions long. It's multiple choice. It is timed, but you get 45 minutes. Okay, and I have had my family take some of the quiz questions to see how long. Most of my family members will complete it within, 3 or 4 minutes. These are not lengthy quiz questions. However, if you have not read the chapter, you might be going back to the textbook to search for things, which can create that type of challenge, and why I allow for the 45 minutes. It's not that I'm asking you to not use the textbook. If you need to use that, that's fine. But I encourage you to read ahead of time. The nature of online classes is that they're self-motivated. I am not here to monitor you and say, "Did you read it? Did you listen to me? What are you struggling with?" I expect that you're doing this on your own, that you're taking this course because you're interested in improving your nonverbal communication, right? You want to be able to pick up on certain skills or nonverbals from other people and improve your own. That is on you. Okay, so if you choose to simply go in each week and complete the quiz and write the paper without ever reading anything or ever watching a lecture, right, you're not going to get anything out of this course. Right? I need you to be self-motivated. Now, when it comes to the lectures, I will be the first to admit I have odd nonverbals myself. I have these, what I call my crazy eyes, that bulge out when I get really excited about things. I also have, or have been told I have, slightly, or maybe more than slightly, annoying voice. So, if you find it to be distracting to simply be looking at the computer watching me, okay, please just put me on and then walk away and just listen to me, okay? Because the examples that I give will be able to help you with your papers and also help improve your nonverbal communication skills. So, again, you only have 2 things that are due each week, and those are always due by Monday night at midnight. Why do I do Mondays instead of Sundays? For some of you, Sunday is a family-oriented or, sacred day. For some of you, that would be Saturday. So I give you kind of that extra day into the week. Again, I don't encourage you to wait until the last minute to do so. Okay, you have 8 days, so please make sure that you complete it. If you complete the paper early, I'll grade it early. If you complete the paper, Monday night at 11:45, I won't grade it until the following Tuesday. All of your papers will be graded at some point on the following Tuesday. Okay. Now, I teach 7 different courses, some on campus here in Petoskey and some off campus in Gaylord. So my schedule is all over the place, which sometimes is difficult for students because they assume that I'm available, 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. That is not the case. A lot of my classes are within that window, and I also teach 2 night classes. So you can email me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It doesn't necessarily mean that I will be able to respond back to you immediately if I'm in a class, okay? Monday night, everything is not due until midnight. However, if the internet goes down or Blackboard fails, right, I'm probably going to be asleep. In fact, I could guarantee I'm going to be asleep at midnight. I'll probably be in bed about 9 o'clock. So emailing me at 9:30 and saying, "Jenny, I can't get the quiz to open," I won't respond to you until the following Tuesday, and at that point it will be too late. So clearly, I'm just reiterating the same point of don't wait until the last minute to complete the assignment. You have plenty of time in order to do so. Now, in regard to the papers, okay, so the quizzes I explained are 5 questions, multiple choice, A, B, C, D. That's it. The papers are 2 pages, double-spaced, Times New Roman, 12-point font. Don't get crazy with this, okay? The 2 pages is a max. There's no reason why you should need more than 2 pages to complete any of the papers. Some of you are very concise writers. Some of you struggle with that. I value concise academic writing. Don't take 6 sentences to say what you can say in 1 sentence. Okay, this is not an English class. I'm really looking for, is it based in the course content? These are not your opinion papers. Sometimes I will ask you to analyze maybe your nonverbal communication, right? So analyze your physical appearance or analyze your vocalics or whatever it may be. So you may be writing with I because you're actually directly referencing yourself, but writing things like I think, right? Or I believe are unnecessary for this paper. Those are extra words. I already know that you believe this and I already know that you think this because you're the author. So please try to, write as concise and clear as possible, making sure that you base the content for the paper in the chapter concepts, okay? Now, again, when I said that the papers are only 2 pages, double spaced, that is based on Times New Roman 12-point font, 1-inch margins. That is an APA thing. Please stick to that. When you upload your papers, please upload them as an attachment in a DOC or DOCX file. So using Microsoft Word, okay? I cannot open other file types, or at least open them to the point where I can review them. What I will do is you're going to upload your paper as an attachment. I download them to my computer and I track changes and I send them back to you. Some people will say, Jenny, you gave me an 18 out of 20, but I don't see any corrections. What you need to do is go into Microsoft Word, go into the edit button at the top, right, when you're looking at the review, and then under track changes, you should click and have it say show final with markups. What will often happen, it'll just show the original, so you won't be able to see all of my red marks. If you ever get points taken off in your paper and you don't see where they are, make sure to email me, but check with the program. That seems to be a consistent issue with the fact that I have the new Microsoft on my Mac and other people do not. So please make sure to check that, but I will never take points off without telling you where the points are taken off. Now, in regard to points, what you also may have noticed is this class is 350 points. And if you've done the math in your head, you've said, wait a minute, there are 12 chapters being covered, so that's 12 quizzes, 12 papers. It does not add up to 350 points, right? 2 quizzes and 2 papers are automatically dropped, okay? So your lowest points. Some people will choose just not to write 2 papers or not to complete 2 quizzes, or life will happen. Right? That's why on that Monday night, when all of a sudden the internet goes down and you can't complete it, I won't grant you an extension. Because truth be told, they're going to get dropped anyway. So even if you get 2 zeros, that's fine. It's kind of like being able to miss 2 weeks of the course without any penalty. Okay? I don't encourage you to just check out and not do that. My recommendation would be complete all 12 quizzes, complete all 12 papers, so then you can get a better grade when your 2 lowest scores get dropped. But I do recognize that life happens, people get sick, people go on vacation, and given that the quizzes or the whole entire chapter, I should say, is only open for 8 days, some of you might be on an 8-day vacation during that time and not have access to the internet. I'm sure you're not doing that because you probably went to take an online class if you planned on that, but that may be the case. So you can look through the syllabus for the course policies. Again, that idea of no late work, what your grade is attributed to as far as percentage-wise goes. Those are all in the syllabus for you. I believe that you can read and you can figure that out yourself. The last thing I want to point out is the schedule. If you notice, we have 15 chapters in the textbook if you already have it. We're only covering 12 of those chapters. It is not because I don't think that the other 3 are worthwhile. It's simply a matter of time and organization. So spring break is where the first issue comes into play. So you have a paper, chapter 9 is due Monday, March 24th, and then you don't have another paper due until April 14th. The reason for that is that March 31st is like the Monday of truly spring break, and then Monday, April 7th is the Monday coming right off of spring break. So there was no way for me to not impinge on your spring break, and I don't like to do that because some of you are going on vacation with your families. Some of you just really need that downtime to relax and regroup for the rest of the semester. So I believe in having that time, so you kind of have a couple week break in between there. And then you will notice you go on April 14th to be turning in a paper on chapter 11, okay, not chapter 10. So we're not covering chapter 10, we're not covering chapter 13, and we're not covering chapter 15, okay? Not that I don't believe in those chapters, and if you would like to read them, you're more than welcome to do so, but I did cut some of that content, Okay, so please be mindful of that schedule. I'm pretty sure you can figure it out. Again, every week is going to be the same. So you will hit this wall of like, ugh, I'm just watching a lecture again, and I'm just completing a quiz again, and I'm just answering a paper again. And it might feel that way. I hope that it doesn't, and I hope you realize that the reason why I did it is just for consistency purposes. I have taken an online class in the past where things would be due every 3 days, and they would change, and the deadlines would change, and I just couldn't keep up with it because of the fact that I had a life, and I had a job, and I, was like constant back and forth with regard to emails and getting stuff done. And I find that to be discouraging for students, and I want you to be successful in this course. And so I created this consistent but repetitive schedule in order to help do that. If you do have questions about the paper, remember I explain them in each of the lectures, sometimes in the middle of the lecture, sometimes at the end of the lecture, try to give you examples. It's not meant to confuse you, so if you do need any clarification prior to writing them, please make sure to email me and let me know, or give me a call. I would love to meet all of you face-to-face. I am a face-to-face instructor. This feels incredibly awkward. Nonverbal communication is an amazing course. You might think this is such an odd course to take online, of all the courses to take online, hence my recorded quote-unquote face-to-face lectures that I'm doing for you. But the content is critical, right, for communication success and to become better communicators, more efficient, more effective, which is what employers are looking for. So I strongly encourage you to, get involved in the content. Read the chapters. Sometimes they are long and detailed, and they don't have a lot of pictures, which students still tend to like. But the information is relatively current, and it's stood the test of time. So it's really, impactful and could hopefully help change your life, or at least help give you some skills for your career path. So again, any questions, please let me know. Everything can be found in the content folder. Do not panic when you find all the chapters empty. I don't know what day that you are watching this, but your first paper is not due until Monday, January 27th at midnight. So what will happen is the folder will open up 8 days before that. So on Sunday the 16th, making sure I have the right Sunday when I say that, the folder will then be filled, right? And you will have the 3 examples, the lecture, then the quiz, and then the paper assignment. Okay, so I have a little bit of a leeway, or a little bit of a cushion right now in case you are still waiting for the textbook to arrive, or in case you have any questions. Please feel free to email me. Okay, I look forward to a wonderful semester, and I hope you enjoy the course. Thank you so much.